Okay, so I forgot 3 things last time. First off, Valeria's hair, excellent. Didn't mention that. Second off, Dwarven Trail, fantastic looking dungeon. I absolutely love the design of it, and it's probably one of my favorite mountain areas in the game. The third thing, however, I still forgot, so now it's double forgotten, and will never know what I was thinking. Oh well. Anyway, we're here at the Dwarven village to ask the dwarves for help because the elves, not exactly helpful. They really hate humans and refuse to listen to any of them, even when said humans say, hey, your village is gonna get burnt down if you don't help. That being said, the dwarves really don't look like they're going to help much more. Oh well, they do have some good equipment. The half helmet is excellent. Half armor? I don't know who can wear that. So, if you do have a character that can wear that, it's really good, but it is heavier armor. I'd imagine Victor is someone who can wear it. Anyway though, as I mentioned last time, not really huge on dwarves in Suikoden. They feel very out of place. This one is insulting the kobolds, which is completely unfair. I mean, we've been attacked by kobolds, but I don't think that's their fault. They have been captured by the Empire. They've probably been forced to fight. But anyway, I'm off track now. As I said before, they just feel a little out of place because, of course, again, this is a JRPG based off of a Chinese novel. So, like, I don't know, I guess they added elves and dwarves just to say, hey, this is a JRPG, here's some JRPG stuff, because, you know, a lot of early JRPGs were based off D&D. Final Fantasy, of course, is like the biggest example, because there's so much Dungeons & Dragons influence there, but in Suikoden, it just doesn't feel like it fits. I mean, granted, dwarves appear in the odd-numbered games, and I haven't seen anything from Suikoden 5, and I barely remember 3. So this is the only game I have any reference to them, and I don't know, they just sort of feel like they're here, like the elves, and this house is empty. And in general, it's not like they're part of Chinese myth as far as I can tell, like both dwarves and elves are Germanic, so unless somehow they traveled down to Asia, which I really doubt the concept of dwarves and elves went all the way there instead of something, you know, important. I don't think it's really any part of Chinese mythos. I mean, granted, none of the game really is, but you get my point. It really feels out of place. But then again, I know I could be wrong. I mean, I haven't read any academic studies on dwarves, which, legitimate question, are there studies on dwarves and, like, where the concept originated and how it's evolved? Like, someone has to have done that by now, right? That's like every dissertation. Hey, I'm a huge nerd about X, so let me write 100 pages on it and hope that gets accepted by the teachers. Anyway, though, back there you have the Turtle Rune, which is a very good rune for people with unite attacks that unbalance them, because while it prevents status effects, the main purpose is it actually blocks unbalance as well, which is really good. Obviously, since each person can only have one rune at a time, it's not useful for, like, the clone rune, but any unite attacks it's just extremely good for. Like, Yamku is a good character for that. Anyway, that was Mies. The nice thing about Dwarven Village is that you can take your weapons up to level 9, which is, of course, extremely good, but also extremely expensive. Mies has gone back to the Liberation HQ, so now we can do that at our own base, which is good, because, like, you're gonna want to have a source of gambling around that, because this is actually the first point at which I actually went broke. I mostly did that off screen, of course, but yeah, I was only able to, like, upgrade 3 characters to their level 9 weapons. The others are going to be saved for later. I believe I upgraded Mir and Gremio since they're always here, and Valeria because, like, it's Valeria. Did you not get that I have a huge crush on her, and I really like her as a character? She's extremely good. Starting to get the feeling that dwarves and elves don't get along. Oh, well, that's lovely. So, they've got one of your own things. You should, probably take responsibility for that. Oh, you're horrible. Okay. Well, good to know. You're gonna need one hell of a redemption arc to get past that line. I hope you're all murdered. Oh, but anyway, the Chief of Dwarves doesn't think anyone could steal from the dwarves. Oh, and Kage was the culprit. Oh, well. So, like, you might have thought Kage was an ally, but he really does only work for the money. Like, this isn't one of those he's a mercenary but he has a heart of gold situations. No, Kage legitimately works for money. Because while he helped us, he also gave the Empire an extremely dangerous weapon. With no thought whatsoever. He just gave it to them, so... yeah, Kage could probably do that, but the Chief, of course, is extremely stubborn and doesn't think that humans could actually steal from the dwarves. And because their vault is all the way to the north and not actually in town, he's not going to check himself. He's going to have us do it and just break in and steal a thing to prove that humans can steal from the vault. I guess the alternative is to die, but like, we're gonna be making it back. So these are death machines. Honestly, they're really not so bad. I don't have all the characters upgraded because, of course, again, I went broke, but this really shows how much upgrading your weapons can do for you. Because as you can see there, Valeria just did 204 damage. Honestly, as long as you have enough money to buy some good upgrades, this area is such a breather after the Dwarven Trail. It's extremely good. Like, enemies here I could see being tough. The Death Boars are here as well, in case you want the Boar Runes still. You might want to try to focus on those guys. But yeah, if you've upgraded your weapons at least a decent amount, you are going to make short work of any enemy here. If you don't, they're going to be as tough as they were on the Dwarven Trail, and this is still a long dungeon. It's also a fairly annoying dungeon as well, and not just because there are these sections where you just go from staircase to staircase. There are some quote-unquote puzzles here. Oh, and this is a Blue Death Machine. He appears on his own, but this guy's special because he can drop a Trick Rune. Of course, you only need one of these because Jupo and Meg are the only ones who can use the Trick Rune, and Jupo already has one. So you just need one for Meg, and she's set. She doesn't need any super good... Well, I mean, she can have a super good rune if you want to, but I'm just going to give her the Trick Rune. I like giving characters their unique things. Alright, Crimson Dwarves. They are upgrades to the normal dwarves. You probably won't notice that because, again, we're going to make short work of these guys. Like, check them out now. Single crit takes them out. Yeah, remember earlier where a single crit could be absorbed by a dwarf? Yeah, none of that anymore, and holy shit, 306 damage. The dodge, of course, isn't connected to weapons, but still, that's just a bit of luck on Sheena's part. I'm thankful to have him here. He is extremely good. Sorry, Antonio. You are a good character, even if you're not, like, the best, but he is, again, one of the better castle staff characters you can play as. Medicine will be alright. Honestly, we've been away from the vault for so long that I'm kind of running out of space in the inventory. I had to remove things mid-dungeon. But yeah, I guess I could use the medicine just so I don't have to use Drops of Kindness too much. That's the one problem with spell slots. You only get 9 of them max. And granted, characters who are good with magic will make good use of it, but still, 9 is such a low number, you know? On the other hand, if you have MP, I don't have to worry about how many times I can cast until I'm out of magic. Alright, so we've seen both of these enemies. I just wanted to keep them here because, like, I want a full group so you can see just how much I kill the hell out of them. That wasn't a good sentence. I wanted to show off just how easily they go down with our upgraded weapons. It makes a huge difference. And again, play Chinchiro-rin back at the base and then upgrade your weapons. I am absolutely going to be doing that before every mission from now on, because it just makes such a difference in the field. You will wreck everything. Up to a certain point, of course, because while this area is a breather after Dwarven Trail, from this point on they are going to expect you to have some heftier weapons, so if you don't keep up with sharpening your weapons, fights are going to drag on for a while. That being said, though, there aren't really any enemies here that you haven't really dealt with, because of course Death Machines are recolored, and Crimson Dwarves are recolors, and Death Boars, which I don't show off, are literally just from the previous dungeon. As for the dungeon itself, though, I believe I've gotten to this point a few times, but I don't like it. To further elaborate, it's filled with like a bunch of miscellaneous puzzles that don't really feel all that interesting, and it just goes on for longer than I feel it should. It has some maze sections. Like, this isn't terribly complex, but like, I had a guide telling me where to go. So if you're just going from left to right, you're easily going to be in more battles than you want to be in. And if you're going from right to left, then you're missing items. Neither of those situations is ideal. There's also a puzzle in here that, I will be honest, I have not figured out, technically speaking. And I'm so glad I had a guide for. I think it's the next one. But yeah, the first puzzle in the dungeon, that one where you had to pull the levers, that's just trial and error to figure out, like, which of them you have to pull and in which order to remove all the obstacles in the most ideal way so you can get to the exits. I have the guide, so I know where to go. Oh, yep, here it is. Fiddle-dee, diddle-dee, piddle-dee-doo. You know what that means? I certainly do. It means left, right. You getting me so far? I bet you figured it out, right? You know where this puzzle's going. Like, yep, obviously that was the combination. You figured that out from that little rhyme right there, right? Because I sure as shit have not. I have no clue what that puzzle's supposed to be, because even if you, like, compare the first letters, like fiddle-dee, diddle-dee, like, that was 3 D's in a row, but it's left, right, then left, so I hate to say it, but I really have nothing to tell you there. I have not figured out that puzzle. I never have, and I probably won't unless somebody actually knows what that's supposed to mean. Like, if you do know what that means, post in the thread, I guess, but like, I don't fucking know. Alright? I seriously have not figured that one out yet. Drunk or sober, I have not discovered the meaning of that puzzle. Oh, hey, it's a boss. How's it going? Okay, so this is Gigantus, and his design fucking rules because it's an old man in one half, and his other half is still an upper half, but it's the upper half of a demon. Anyway, this guy's actually really easy, in part because, unlike the zombie dragon, you actually have options. Like, you can bring whoever you want in, and the characters that are required are actually pretty good. That being said, I have some good rune users who will do a lot of damage, like Sheena. He does do a lot of damage, and when the demon attacks, it will be a party attack, but honestly, the party attack isn't actually that damaging. It's not like the zombie dragon's breath attack that will just completely destroy you if he uses it multiple times in a row. Honestly, I kinda wish the demon would attack multiple times in a row, because it only does like 50 damage at a time, I think. So yeah, there's not really much strategy here. heal anyone who gets hit by his physical attack, and just use your strongest attacks against him. For example, Valeria's Falcon Rune is extremely good. Yeah, see, 60 was the most damage there, others were in the 20s, that was even weaker than I had thought. But yeah, he's super easy, and wow, yeah, there he goes already, 2 routed him. That was not so bad at all. He's got a little bit of variety, but so did I. I just laid in with all of my powerful attacks. In part because I had them, like, I didn't have any need for using runes during the dungeon, so of course that let me just use my most powerful spell, the Sheena, and so on and so forth. Alright, there are 3 paths here, only 2 have items. This is an optional item, Defense Rune Peace, of course that increases defense, so you don't want to miss out on it. Honestly, if you want to grind here for a Boar Rune or a Trick Rune, just stay near the entrance. There's no need to come back down here, so make sure to get that item, and of course this is a necessary item, and use an Escape Talisman, and never look back. Again, if you need to grind, stay near the entrance. Don't bother coming all the way back down. It is not a fun dungeon, honestly. Doesn't look terrible, but like, it's boring, and I don't like the puzzles at all. It's just, excuse me, all in all, not really my favorite dungeon. I definitely remembered it being worse than I thought it actually played out here, but still, it's a dungeon I don't like. Hey, guess what? That was actually pretty easy. Though I guess, to be fair, I did have the advantage of Dwarven Sharpening, so hey, maybe humans aren't amazing after all, and we have to rely on other people. Oh, okay, so you had the destructive thing built, but you didn't make the Firewind Cannon, the thing that could destroy the thing that could destroy a forest. I really doubt he's going to believe us now. Oh, you say the dwarves are gonna build a thing to destroy their own weapon? Pfft, no. I'm gonna continue being an ass, just FYI, cause I'm the chief of the elves. Meh. Anyway, I would just like to take a moment and say, Dwarf Trail is amazing. Yeah, we're going back through this full thing, motherfucker, what up? Because I didn't point out how cool this area looks before. Because, of course, this looks like the mountain we've been to. Yeah, it's just a whole lot of rocks, but, like, the view in that one section of the dungeon is amazing. Like, again, this is... we've seen something like this before. This layout seems very familiar, so this is a little generic, but, like, the progression of it is amazing. And, of course... oh my god! Okay, view is less good. Oh my god, the situation is so dire that Kirk has turned into an event flag. Yeah, you could say a little more about your entire village being burned to the ground, Kirkus. This is pretty serious.